In a mathematics classroom, a teacher will experience a diverse range of learners. These learners will have different and preferred learning styles, whether kinesthetically or visually. A teacher in a classroom will use manipulatives to assist in teaching a lesson and foster student engagement. A manipulative is defined as a physical object that can be used as a teaching tool within a classroom. These physical objects provide hands-on learning and real-life examples. These objects can be brought from home, made by teachers or students, or purchased from educational retailers. My lesson focus is directed at a Year 2 level. It has been identified on the measurement and geometry strand within the ACARA curriculum. The content descriptor requires students to tell the time to the quarter hour using mathematical language passed in two and describing the characteristics of quarter past times on an analog clock. Identifying the small hand or the hour hand is pointing just past the number and the big hand or the minute hand is pointing directly towards another number. The lesson requires students to identify, create and use appropriate language and literacies during the lesson with the assistance of a clock face. The teacher will have a large clock at the front of the classroom that can be used to demonstrate how to move the clock hands at the beginning of the lesson. In addition, students are required to make their own clock that can be used to complete the prescribed activities. The outcomes are based on curriculum guidelines as well as learner profiles and the capabilities of the students in the class. Firstly, students will identify quarter hour time on the clock base. They must be able to explain quarter hour time using mathematical language passed in two. In addition, they must be able to create a clock base to determine and demonstrate quarter hour time. At the beginning of the lesson, the teacher can foster engagement with the class by asking students whether or not if they have seen or used a clock before, when and where time is used in daily situations, how many clocks they have at home, and what items in the house tell the time, for example microwaves, fridges or computers. Other examples are before we had clocks, people used the sun and the dial to tell what the time in the day was. It is important when using manipulatives such as a clock face that the teacher describes to the students what quarter past looks like and what quarter to looks like, as well as are they using the language passed in two and not 9:15 or 9:45, as students must be able to use and get familiar with these math literacies during the activity. After demonstrating to the students how to use quarter past and quarter to, the students can make their clock face with a print-out cardboard clock face, and students cut out the clock face and use a split pin in the middle of the clock to make the hands more movable. That way students can use this as a manipulative when they are completing the set activity to show the time given. Such as the time written quarter to eight, students can represent it on the clock to visually see it or what it looks like and represent it or draw it on their activity sheet. Students can use the clock to change it to quarter to eight, such as moving that there. Or they can move the hands to quarter past 6. The students will have two activities and the teacher will use this in the front of the class. At the end of the lesson, the teacher can ask students questions and if they can show the time to him or her in the class. Students can either be called up in the class and asked to represent the time like quarter to 8. Students can also represent that on their own clock face and hold it up to show the class and the teacher. This allows the teacher to check for students' understanding and correct students who may not have grasped the concept. It is important to make sure all learners are catered for. Using a clock face as a manipulative will allow students to experience to have a hand-on opportunity in mathematics rather than just writing equations and answering questions. Learning adjustments are essential as teachers. We have to modify lessons to support a large range of learners. To accommodate students with learning difficulties, a task is made more concrete so students will have the clock face in front of them as an enabling prompt to assist in answering the questions. Students who exhibit gifted qualities will have extension activities. These students can create or design their own questions that they can give to the teacher or students, or they can represent the question in a pictorial form instead of written. English as a second language students, it is important that the teacher uses contextual clues that the mathematical language is coherent and that the students can understand clearly and concisely of what you are asking of them. In conclusion, the use of manipulatives in a classroom is a very efficient and effective teaching tool. The use of these allows students to be engaged and to create concrete knowledge and hands-on learning experiences. Using a clock face as a manipulative is just one of many physical objects that teachers can use during a mathematics lesson. The use of a manipulative allows students to move from concrete understandings to abstract reasoning and justifying. Understanding measurement of time is a key concept taught to be used in a daily life.